nice to see you again, and thank you for joining me for the last in the series of the mask making workshops. So this is the Creative Dimension Trust Online, and I'm Emma Brassington, and I'm going to be doing masks with you today. So we're on week 5, and if you haven't had a chance to look at the other workshops, then take a look on the Creative Dimension Workshop website. Today we're going to need cardboard, some tape, so some stapler, a couple of sticks, some scissors and some felt tips. So these are transformation masks. Sorry, this isn't a very readable link, but I'm looking at transformation masks found from the First Nation culture in Canada. This is a sun mask, and what it does is it transforms. So here you have the sun, and then inside the sun is a person. And through using these levers, you can alternate between the two masks whilst wearing it. So this is another transformation mask. So this has a opening through the eyes. So these two areas flap. So this mask is something that I saw for the first time in the Pitts Rivers Museum in Oxford. It's a great museum. You can go in for free, and it's got lots of artifacts from different cultures. This again is from Canada. It's made by Charles Edenshaw, and this is a raven. So on the outside it's a raven, and inside it reveals a wise woman. So this is what it looks like from the outside, and this is the inside. And as I was making these masks, the prototypes, before I decorated it, everyone said my mask looked a little bit like Dumbo. So I thought, well, why not make a Dumbo mask, or, you know, something with a flapping mechanism. And then, so here I've tried to make a Dumbo elephant. So I've just added loo roll to the final product. So I'm just going to put on this mask and show you how it works. So this is my original mask, and this is what we're making. So you put it on, and you've got these two levers. So this is what we're making today. And as you can see, it's super simple. It's just cardboard and some sticks and some string. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. That will probably fall down in a moment. So the first things first, we need some long cardboard. I've chosen to use some quite thick cardboard, and I've cut it into a strip, a long strip. This is just off a box. You could use cereal boxes, and I'm going to measure that around my head, and then I'm going to tape it and stick it down. So that's the first task. So I've got myself some tape. And I'm just going to stick it down so it fits. And I'm doing it just above my eyes. And I'm having it just above my eyes so that when I stick my mask on, I can see. It will come clear, but it's so that my mask can fit on quite easily. When I go to make my mask, I can just slot it on top of my eyes. So there I have a very basic headpiece. I can make that a little bit neater by trimming it off. My computer. So this, at this point, should be quite simple. You're just making a little headband for yourself. And then you've got a nice bit of cardboard that fits around your head. Next, using another bit of cardboard, I've chosen to use a slightly thinner one this time because I want it to be able to bend around my face. I'm going to draw something that covers my eyes and then loops up over my nose. So what I'm going to do for this bit is I'm going to just draw a mask shape. So I'm going to draw a mask shape. So to do that, I'm going to put one loop around some sellotape, move over and do another one. And then underneath, I'm just going to do it 3 times. And that will give me quite a nice outline. So I've done 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And overall, it's going to look, when I join it all together, something that looks a little bit like this. I'm going to draw some eye shapes. So find halfway, because it's 2 sides of your face. I'm going to draw an eye shape roughly about halfway. Then I'm going to do another one there. So once I've got my mask shape with my 2 eyes, I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to cut out along those lines which I've just made. So I've just cut around it, and then I've got these 2 eyes. The eyes are slightly trickier to cut out. You can put your scissors all the way through and then cut the eyes around. You can use a knife at this point. I sometimes find it easier to use a knife. But if your cardboard is nice and thin, you can cut out using using some scissors. I'm just going to finish this one off with a knife because it's slightly easier for me. You know, and this works. I've got a cutting board, but you can use a chopping board, you know, as long as it's nice and clean and you clean it after. So there I've got my eye holes. These are, I've just realised, are a bit too far apart. So when I put it on, I can't actually see. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. Put my eyes a little bit closer together. If not, I won't be able to see out of my mask when it's done. And this is just a little bit of trial and error. You know, you can just keep putting it up to your face and seeing what works for you. Next, I'm going to make a space for my nose, which is quite literally just a triangle down the middle. So I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm just going to draw a nice triangle shape, and I want to cut all of this out. So it's quite literally just a triangle straight down, and I've just curved off these edges because it will make it look a little bit pretty at the end. And again, I'm just going to cut out this shape. So here we have our first step, which is, well, second step, which is our nice mask shape. So already we can stick this mask onto our headband, and you can do this with sellotape, some glue. You can stitch it with some string, which is what I've done before. I'm going to use a little bit of glue on this one because I left my glue out last night by mistake, so it probably needs a little bit of work. So I'm going to stick that down like that, and then just to make sure it's secure in place, I'm just going to give it a bit of a tape. And you can be as neat as you want on this, so I'm just going quickly. And then the next thing we want is if you want to hide your nose and create a nice nose shape coming out, if you're going to do an elephant with the loo roll, it's quite nice to make a bit of a nose. So I will show you how to do that. So you need some more cardboard, and if you fold it in half like so, and then the next thing you can do is to measure how big you want your nose. So I'm going to do a small nose this time. So I've just got a bit of card, folded it in half, and then I'm going to choose how wide. So the folded bit is on the top. I'm going to choose how big I want my nose. Once I've chosen, I'm going to draw down a rough guide down here, and that is where I'm then going to fold along that line. And if you fold along that line, it then gives you somewhere to stick your nose onto your mask. So just to recap, I put it in, I've measured where I want my line to be, I folded it up along that line, and then I'm going to stick along, I'm going to stick it into my mask. So again, I'm just going to use a really nice healthy bit of glue. And this is where you need a little bit of patience for the glue to have time to stick down. Sometimes when I'm doing these workshops, I rush it a bit and then it comes unstuck. So this time I've got clips, so I'm just going to hold it down with a clip. I've only got one though, so the other side I'm just going to have to hold. So then already we've got a mask which you can wear on your head, and it's got a nose bridge already. And you can play around with that nose, making bigger and smaller ones if you want. So then the next thing is that we want our flapping contraction. So if we're going to do a Dumbo, we're going to need some big, nice ears. So I found a really nice cardboard for the ears. I've hard cereal box, like Shreddies or Weetabix, that they have like a nice cardboard texture. It's only one ply thin. Or I've also got here an Amazon box which a book came in, and you want a bit of card that hasn't already been bent or creased in any way, because when you're pulling your strings you don't want the cardboard to be weakened to buckle. So it's a nice bit of card from a cereal box or something which hasn't yet been folded. So I've got my cereal box, and I want to basically draw a giant set of wings or something. So I'm just gonna draw a nice ear shape. That's going to be my ear. And I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to cut two of them out at the same time though. So I've just folded my card. I might change the shape of this a little bit. No, it's not cutting out both bits at the same time. Cutting them out at the same time just helps them be symmetrical. But alternatively, what you could do is you could cut out one and then use it as a stencil for the other one. I'm sure you can cut out along the line much better than I can. So here you've got your two ears. Now you want to decide which side and how and where you want your ears to go. If you have them there, they can fold quite nicely over. These ones are quite big. So the next thing we do is you want to stick these ears down, but creating a fold along here so that when you pull your trigger, it can easily move. So I'm going to fold along here. So now I've got my fold. I'm going to put this one over the top. And again, you want to fold it. But because it's on the other side of the elephant face, you want to mirror it. So you want to make sure you're folding in the right direction. So on this one, I'm going to be folding like that, so that they can go either side of my elephant face. So just to check that I've got the same fold on both sides, I'm folding that one way and this the other. And then I'm going to stick this to my face, like so. Again, this bit is going to need a little bit of patience so that the glue has time to dry. And again, you want to have a healthy amount of glue or tape it. Because I was quite generous with my ears, you can see I've overlapped it, but again, the neater you are and the more precise you want to be, you can edit it. So I'm going to have to create my eye space again. Making sure that you've got enough room to make that fold that you have already designed. So I'm going to now clip that down and wait for the glue to dry. And I'm going to stick my other one down, trying to keep it symmetrical to this side. It's a nice bit of glue. I'm being extra generous with my glue because I left it out last night, so it's not that sticky anymore. And I've got to try and match it up with the previous ear that I've done, which it's hard to do upside down on the camera. It's probably about there. Does that look about even? Yeah, I'd say so. And then stick it down. And again, hopefully that has time to stick. So now you've got your mask and it has the ability to flap. We now need to make it so it does flap. First thing I'm going to do is I want to get some quite stiff cardboard, and I'm going to put them here and here so that when I pull some string, it runs through a section of cardboard and into my ear. So we've got a bit of like stiffer cardboard. This one's got 2 ply, so I know it's nice and stiff. What I want to do is I'm just inserting a bit of stiff cardboard behind the ears. So first I'm just going to cut a nice rectangle, two nice rectangles out, one either side. I've got a bit of cardboard and I'm going to cut lengthways down here. And again, you can use a pair of scissors for this. And now we need somewhere for our string to go before we stick it down. So gonna put a hole through this cardboard at one end. So I've got a pen and I'm just gonna really carefully run my pen at its point through the cardboard. And I'm gonna send the pen the whole way through, just to create a nice round hole. I'm going to do the same on the other side, just making sure that I've got it in the same place. So I've put the little pen mark, which you can barely see, and again I'm going to run my pen through this mark. I've actually realised that I've done my masks slightly differently, but we're going to try this method now, and if it doesn't work then I can show you something slightly different. So we've got our bits of cardboard, and now what we want to do is just to stick them on at an angle so that they come out of your mask that sort of angle. So what you want to get is that the edge of your mask is here, and this bit of cardboard comes out a little bit more, maybe like an inch or so away from the cardboard. And I've just done that by sticking it behind the ear. And again, I'm just going to get some glue and then secure it in place with some tape. And hopefully you can see where I'm sticking it. So I'm just sticking it behind my flap. Secure it in place. I'm going to tape it because I don't want it to fall out when I'm pulling my strings. There we go, that's quite secure. I'm not going to tug too hard on it for the moment because the glue is still drying. And I'm going to do the same for the other side as well. I'm just putting it, you can see, in between my ear and my mask. So now we've done all the mask making almost. It's now onto the fun part and the very, well, slightly fiddly part, which is attaching the strings. So if we think about this, what we want to do is we want to, using one set of strings, pull the ears in, and then with another set of strings, make the ears flap out. So I'm going to do one at a time. The first thing we're going to do is that hole that we made with this bit on this rod. We're going to put a hole in the same place if the mask is extended, which is about here. And I can measure it up. I'm trying to show you from the back. And I can just put a hole going all the way through. So you should be able to see that I've just put a pen all the way through. And there's going to be my first hole. So when I pull a string, those two sections will come together. So why don't I just put that string in now to show you. So you want a really long bit of string to begin with, and you can always shorten it. So I'm going to chop a bit of string, which is probably going to be about, well, it's going to go around here, around my head, and then an extra foot. So I'm going to give it almost a whole arm's width, because again, you can just cut it shorter. So I've got my bit of string, and the first place I'm going to put it is I'm going to put it through my ear and keep pulling until it's at its very end. And then you want to secure that in place because you don't want it to come off. So you could use tape to secure it, but I'm going to use a stapler to make it secure. So this is when I pull this, it doesn't come off. I'm going to take the string and run it through that hole in the rod. So you've got almost like a little hinge. So when you pull that, it flaps. And why not do the same on the other side? So a nice long bit of string. Cut it. Measure up where your hole is. All the way through. And then thread your string. Through your hole. Secure it in place. Thread it through the rod and down. So we've got two hanging bits of string, and that's going to be what we attach a stick to. So I'm going to do that now, but this is it is fiddly, and you might need to adjust your sticks up a fair bit. So if I close this and then I pull on these strings, you can see that it opens. So I'm going to attach a stick at either end of where I've just pulled. So wrap it around a couple of times and tie a knot. It's quite fun to do whilst wearing the mask. Not done that before. I'm going to put a couple of knots in it to make sure that it doesn't come off. You can always attach it with a bit of sellotape or something as well after you've done the knots. But at the beginning, because you might have to do these knots a couple of times, it might be worth not doing it too tightly to begin with. And you can see that's starting to flap already. So I'm going to tie a knot in exactly the same place on this one with another stick. And it's quite nice to get straightish sticks. You know, don't have to be perfect. Is that similar? Yep. Now, I might have to do those knots a couple of times, depending on how well I've strung it. But the next thing we're going to do is we're now going to make the flap close. when we pull a different string. So what we want to do is we want to put a hole through the nose on either side so that when we pull a string, it makes the ear close. And I'm going to put a hole either side of this nose. And I want to give enough distance that the cardboard isn't too weak. And I'm going to go all the way through so that I know that the string has lots of space to run. And I'm going to do it on the other side. Again, all the way through. And then this time, I also want a hole on my ear where this string will come to. So it's roughly about there. So I'm just closing it and seeing roughly where the string will reach to. And again, you know, you could put your pen almost joining it. And you just want to pull your pen all the way through. So you've got a hole there. And also a hole on this side as well. And again, I can attach it like that, so I know that the string will run nicely. Getting the pen all the way through. Now you want to attach the string, but coming from this side. So again, I'm taking a nice, you know, just under an arm's width of string. So I've got my string, and I'm putting it through the ear, and I want to attach my string to the outside of the ear this time. See if my stapler reaches. And you don't have to use a stapler. You could, like I said, you could knot it or use some tape. So I've attached this to the outside and it runs to the inside. And then get the end of the string and run it through the nose. And when you pull, let me try and show you. When you pull on this string, the ears will close. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. Getting my string, nice, healthy amount. Attaching it to the outside of my ear. Running it through the nose. And there we've got through our nose. We can pull these and they close. So again, if I pull this, it closes. Now these ears are quite big, so they don't overlap. I mean, they do overlap quite a bit. That's because I've done them so ginormous. That's because Dumbo had really big ears, so I thought I'd do them quite big at the same time. Now we've got to attach these new bits of string to our sticks. And this is where it becomes fiddly, because you might take a while finding the sweet spot of where they need to be attached to. So a method that I've chosen to try and help me work out roughly where the sweet spot is if I pull one of my strings, the back string, as much as it is. So when this string, which is attached to the back, is fully pulled, my stick, where it's attached to, is at its lowest point because I've pulled it all the way down, which means that my string which attaches to its nostril, which is fully extended from here to here, should be at its shortest point. Because you want to make a seesaw, so I'm going to attach it in a way that makes it horizontal. Again, it might just take a little bit of jiggling about to find what's comfortable for you when you're using your mask. So I'm not going to tighten it too tightly this time, because I'll probably have to take my thing out. But let's just give it a go to see if it works. So this one seems to be running a bit stiffly. And the more you play with it, the smoother it will become. This one's threaded a little bit. So we're just going to do the same on the other side. Attach this end of the stick at horizontal level. So if you pull it as much as you can, make it horizontal, and then attach it to where it meets the string. Now, because I fairly unneatly pushed my pen through the cardboard, it means it's given it a little bit of a lip almost, which means that the string doesn't run so nicely and evenly through the cardboard. I'll show you what I mean by that. So can you see this little lip here? If you get rid of that, or if you smooth it down, it does allow the string to run a little bit more smoothly. So I'm going to try and get rid of some of that. And the neater you are, you'll find that the easier the string runs through. On my other mask, I even got a little bit of sellotape to make it run super smooth. But you should end up with something that looks a little bit like this. So if you find yours isn't running as smoothly as you want it, what you can do is you can have a look around your mask and see what bits have been kept quite rough. So this bit on mine is quite rough. You can see it coming up. I'm just going to chop, again, this little bit off. You just keep fiddling with it until it runs smoothly. What I did for mine is I ended up putting a tiny bit of tape way through to create a little bit of a tunnel so that it ran really smoothly through that tunnel. It didn't get caught on any of these sharp edges. So you can even give it another twizzle to make sure that it's got lots of space to run through. And also I've got a really scratchy twine that catches on everything as well. Once I'm roughly happy with it all, I'm just going to give it a bit of a more secure tape up, because the more secure all these little elements are and the less movement there is, the more the movement will come from the string. So I've just added another little bit of tape here to make this a lot more secure. Maybe I'll do a little bit on that side as well. So once you've got the basic shape and you've attached the string in the ways that you need to, you just go over at the end and make it nice and secure. And again, this nose area could be catching a little bit, so I'm just going to widen it. And then everything should be moving a lot smoother. So let's give it one more test run once I've done those tiny little adjustments. There we go. So there we have it, a flapping mask controlled by 2 sticks. So I'm just going to cut off this excess string, which I don't need, which will neaten up a little bit now that I know that I've done my string roughly the right height. And there you've got your triggers. If you wanted to add on a trunk to your elephant, what I've done in this one is I've just added some loo rolls and attached them by string. And that gives it quite a nice little bit of movement. So I've just added some loo rolls with this mask. I've just decorated with some felt tip. And this one I've played with a lot, so it runs nice and. And it's also tied to my head. Really, it's nice and tight. So what I've discovered from this demonstration, you know, you're constantly learning, is it is much better when this part is really securely attached to your head. So do it quite nice, and I would say on the tight side. Okay, so that is the end for today. We would love to see your creations, so please do get in touch with us and tag us in any of the things that you make.